If you're looking for a quality transmitter that's absolutely packed full of features, then this is the one for you. We've got the RC8X from RadioLink. This thing boasts 8 channels. It can support up to 200 models. It has a full colour 4.3-inch touchscreen, which is like the size of a phone. It supports FPV head tracking, and I'll show you the FPV camera function in a moment. It actually displays the camera on the screen, which is just so cool. You've got configurable buttons for your 8 channels, so you can pick and choose which button controls which channel. It also has configurable colour themes and configurable sounds, which I'll show you in a moment. It has a hidden antenna, but still boasts a 600-metre range. It comes with an 8-channel waterproof receiver with a built-in gyro and a 4-channel micro receiver that's not waterproof but does have a built-in gyro. It comes with a really nice carry case, and in the carry case you also get a strap for the carry case, a nice lanyard for the actual transmitter itself, a USB to USB-C cable so that you can load different firmware, custom sounds and things like that onto the transmitter, an extra power cable for external telemetry, get a couple of Allen wrenches and a spare throttle trigger, and you get a quick start guide as well. You can also download, I think it's an 83-page guide online, because yeah, that's how many features this thing has, that you can get an 83-page guide. It comes included with a 1700 mAh 2S LiPo battery, which just goes in the bottom here, but it can actually support up to 4S. Or if you want to, you can use the included AA battery pack, which you would then need 8 AA batteries to power it. It's a really nice quality transmitter. It's really nice in the hand, nice foam grip, nice spring on the wheel, you know, really nice throttle trigger. Obviously you've got all your various different buttons. You've got a button on the very bottom back of the transmitter. You've got 2 buttons on the side here. And you've got 5 buttons surrounding the actual wheel itself. You've also got your adjustable knobs as well on the side. Another nice thing about this is you can actually move the wheel from the right hand side to the left hand side. So if you're either left-handed or right-handed, it does have that compatibility. You can see on the side here as well, you've actually got your USB-C port there, and then you've actually got headphone jacks, and this is where you'd connect the FPV camera, which I'll show you shortly. If you do decide to swap the sides, you actually have the 2-channel buttons on either side for ease of use, which is really, really cool. So to power it on or off, you're going to do a long press on the topmost button.
Welcome to RadioLink.
It even talks to you when you turn it on. That's one of the things you can customize with the sound, is you can actually change the welcome message, and you can change all of the sounds when you press the different buttons. I'll show you that in a moment. So you can see once it's on, you've got that full 4.3-inch, really nice full color touchscreen. So on the actual screen itself, you can see at the top, you've got your battery voltage, the current voltage. You've got all the different displays for all 8 channels. So as you actually use the channels, you can see it actually moves. And you can see, hopefully at the top there, as we press it, that is actually showing you which channel button you are pressing, which is really, really cool. You've also got on the screen your telemetry, so if you do want to use external telemetry, you can see that information. You've got a timer, which you can actually program to the throttle, but otherwise you can actually just press it to start, press it to stop, and then press it again to clear it. You can actually see all of your current trim adjustments, because depending on how you configure your buttons, you can actually adjust your trim just using the buttons up here. You can see as we go through them, it's telling us we're doing throttle trim, and you can see our throttle trim is actually changing down here, which is really, really cool. You can also see with a knob on the side, as we adjust that, that's currently set to channel 3, and that's adjusting channel 3 as well. So if you want to get into the menu, you can either press the top button, or you can press the menu button on the screen. So first thing to note for your actual navigation is really nice inputs on this. It's really sensitive. You can either press the different buttons going down the left hand side to navigate through the different menus, or you can actually just scroll up and down. Now, just going through the different options that we have, first thing is the system menu. So we can set things like, do we want to use a different language? Do we want to change the theme? Which, like I said, I'll show you that in a second. You could control the backlight, which you might or might not be able to see, but that's just this that's glowing on the side here. You've got the battery settings. Now, this is really good because obviously, like I said, it supports 2 to 4S. You can actually calibrate in here what type of battery you're using. So what's your minimum, your maximum? Do you want to have an alarm sound when your voltage gets to a certain level? And do you want it to auto power off when it gets to a certain level? With a 2S battery, it's going to auto power off at 6.6 volts. But again, you can customize all of these. You can actually set vibrations. So we could have vibration on. So as we're pressing it, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's actually vibrating. We're going to have that off for now. You've got your external input output, which we're going to use this in a moment for the FPV camera. Then if we move on to the actual transmitter settings itself, so you've got things like, all your different reverse settings, you've got your different endpoint adjustments, you've got your sub trims, you've actually got your channel settings. So this is where we could actually program the different buttons. So say, for example, for channel 4, maybe we don't want it to be PS1, maybe we actually want it to be DT2. And it'll just come up and it'll tell you, well, this is actually currently occupied by the throttle trim. Do you want to replace it? So we could say yes. And then obviously now we could just go back, and then when we're pressing DT2, you can see it's telling us at the top, that's now channel 4. Okay. Move on to the next part. This is where you can see all your kind of telemetry settings. You've got your racing menu, so you can actually set things like steering curves, throttle curves, steering delay, throttle delay. You've even got cruise control. So if, say, for example, you've got a really jerky rig or something on the throttle, then you could actually smooth that out with a throttle delay. Same for the steering. Maybe you've got like a really snappy steering servo and you just want to smooth it out. You could do that with your steering delay. So yeah, loads of awesome stuff you can do here. You can set things like traction control, ABS, engine cutoff, so many awesome things. It also has up to 9 mixing setting controls. So you could have like steering mixing, maybe if you've got, multiple steering servos, like 4-wheel steer mixing, you've got tank mixing, tilt mixing, brake mixing, even gyro mixing. Yeah, I mean, absolutely packed full of functionality. We've got our tools menu then, so we can do things like screenshot settings and the timer settings. So here we could actually say, right, when do we want it to actually start, for example? When do we want it to reset? So we could have it say, yeah, actually, we want it to be off the throttle trigger, okay? And just to show you that, if we go back, now if we...
function start.
There you go. Now it's actually started the timer. And because we didn't set it to stop, it's not going to stop, but we can just press it to stop it. Okay, it's pretty cool. And you can see it talks to you as well, and that's kind of the sounds you can change. Because it has a little micro SD card, which I think is either 32 gig or 64 gig, that supports all the things like screenshots. So when you're using the FPV camera, you could obviously take a screenshot as ripping down the road in the middle of the night or something like that. You've got your model selections, so you could actually program up to 200 models in this. You can see I've already added an extra model, which is me. So, Rob is a model. And the last thing you've got then is actually the access to all the memory and stored information. So here we could see, for example, the different fonts that we have and so on, or you could see actually, if you go back, maybe we actually want to get access to the custom sounds that we've set. Here's all of our system sounds, whereas we could go back and we could see, actually, we want to see some user sounds. I'm not going to play that one because that's probably a copyright just waiting to happen, but you can load via the USB-C cable additional custom sounds. There's a video on RadioLink's channel that shows you how to do it. Once you load them in, they'll be available here, and I'll show you in a minute how you can then actually program the buttons to use those different sounds. So yeah, you can see it's really easy to navigate. It's really responsive, really, really nice to use. So like I mentioned a moment ago, one of the things you can do is customize that theme. So if we go back into the main menu, go back up to the system settings at the top, go into themes, you've got a whole load of preset themes. So we're currently on theme 1, which is the blue theme. If we just choose, we've got like an orange and yellow theme, which is a bit kind of in your face. You've got a green theme. You've got a nice kind of, I don't know what you want to call that, but I call that purple, which is probably my favorite. You've got a black theme. However, what you can also do is set a custom theme. So if you want it to be your own kind of color theme, you can just basically say, right, okay, maybe I want it to be something like this. And you've got your blues, your greens, and your reds. So just a slider bar, confirm that. Maybe I want my background to be, a nice kind of, I don't know, reddy orange, whatever that is, brown. And then maybe for our fonts, actually, maybe we want, I don't know, a really bright, horrendous green for our font. And then once you set it, you can see now I've got that horrendous font that I've just set, which you don't want to do because you could hardly read the writing. But just, yeah, how easy it is just to set your own custom theme and just make it unique, make it your own. But we're going to go back to the default one for the moment because I couldn't read a thing. So like I said, another thing you can do is you can customize the sounds on this as well. So like I said, you can load your own custom sounds, but there are default sounds that you could just change as well. So to do that, you're basically just going to go into the menu. You're going to go to the transmitter option and then go to your trim dial select. Now, depending on how you got your channels set up, you've got different options for which channels you can change. But if you go to the second screen, and then you can see you've got everything set to auto at the moment, and we've got audio source down the bottom. So if you choose custom, then you can actually choose a different custom sound. Now I'm not going to press that one because that's the one that's actually a song, so like I said, it'd probably get copyrighted. But if you had custom sounds, you could then choose all those custom sounds. And like I said, there is a video on RadioLink's channel, I think it is. I'll put a link in the description, but it shows you how to just copy the custom sounds just via the USB-C cable. But what you can do is if we choose, say for example, system voice, and then maybe actually when we press DT2, we actually want it to say, cycle through the different things.
Welcome to RadioLink.
We want the hello message. So if I just come out of here, look, go all the way back to the main screen. So now when I press DT2 up here,
Welcome to RadioLink.
you can see it said it, even, which is the same as the actual hello message. So, you know, again, it's really cool. It's just kind of making it your own, really, you know. So I've got just a 4-channel receiver in my little Traxxas TRX4M. This thing's actually running a brushless setup. We've just got kind of a random battery in there for the minute. So you can see as we're steering, we can see that throttle, and then obviously we've just done some nice throttle modulation. Obviously this thing's running a brushless system, so it's nice and smooth. And then if you want to connect the FPV camera, what you need to do is you need to connect it to the USB-C port on the side and then this port here. And basically to do that, you need a couple of things. So first thing you need is the 5.8G transmission module. So you can buy these separate. They don't come included with the transmitter. And then basically what you're going to do is you're just going to plug it in. So we're just going to open the USB-C port. We're just going to plug it in. And then plug the headphone jack in. And then you can see it's actually popped up because I've already configured. So if we just say OK to that, on the main menu, when you go down to external input output, you'd actually basically set the multimedia mode to video input. And then the USB power output to auto, and then that's basically once you plug these in, it's going to pick up the fact that there's a camera. Okay, so then you also need your FPV camera. So again, this is the RadioLink little FPV camera. Again, you can buy it separately. I've just connected a standard connector on there so I can actually plug it into the receiver. So let's just do that. So now we've actually got the camera plugged in. You can see there's some lights on the actual camera itself. And then actually, if we look at the transmitter, you can see that is our FPV camera. So there's our rig on the bench, and we can actually see that through the FPV camera. How mad is that? There's our sticker wall. Obviously if I could hold this camera straight would be a good idea, but you get the idea. So we've stuck the camera just on there so we can give it a quick test. How cool is this that you can actually see the brushless motor turning as well? That's so cool. Give it a little crawl. It's actually really good quality as well. The phone doesn't do it justice, that the camera doesn't do it justice, but it is actually a decent camera. You can see this thing is absolutely jam-packed and full of features. Considering some of the newer radios that have been released from like Spectrum and stuff, where they're like, what, $700? This thing is, I think, $319 on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description if you want to pick it up. You can obviously get it from other places as well. For the price, you're getting a lot of functionality for your money. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Drop me a comment if you've got any questions. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.